Well, I completely agree that Brexit was an act of economic self-harm. It has also reduced our sovereignty because they said they would improve the control of our borders, but precisely the opposite has happened since we left the European Union. So it was based on a lot of fantasy economics and, frankly, lies that were told at the time by the likes of Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson and all the rest of them. So it's right that we look at this reset, but we are also clear that we're not going to rejoin the customs union or the single market. That was in our manifesto. If you look at the customs union...
So is that a red line? You'll never rejoin the customs union?
As the Prime Minister said in Prime Minister's questions today, and as it says in our manifesto, we won't be rejoining the single market or the customs union.
In this Parliament or ever?
I think you can't bind the hands of a parliament or a government beyond the next general election. The manifesto we stood on was for this Parliament, and that was clear.
It's hard to kind of think of a more pro-European politician in a sense than you. You know, your dad was an EU commissioner, your mum was an MEP, your wife is a former Prime Minister of Denmark. On a personal level, would you like to see us back in the customs union?
I am passionately pro-European. I campaigned for Remain. I didn't actually campaign for a second referendum. I campaigned for us to stay in the single market and have a common market 2.0 approach, which I believed at the time was the best deal that we could possibly get.
Do you still think that?
And I deeply regret the fact that we didn't go for it back then because it was the right thing to do. It was a close vote, 52-48, which was a vote to leave the move house but stay in the same neighbourhood, as I used to say, and I think that was the right thing to do then. But since then, events took over. A hard Brexit was negotiated. We're not going to relitigate all the arguments that went around the referendum, but we are also absolutely clear that we do need a much better and closer relationship with the European Union for our economy, to better control our borders, and also because we live in a dangerous and turbulent world and we need partners, we need allies, we need better defence and security cooperation to see off the threat from Putin on Europe's eastern flank.
It's just interesting that we talk so much about, a better relationship with Europe, but it seems like not everything's on the table. It feels like we can't talk about a customs union. Is that because it seems like you feel like, as a party, it's a Brexit surrender in some way?
I think we've had that manifesto pledge, and also we've negotiated deals with third countries like the India trade deal, for example. If you're in the European Union's customs union, you can't have bilateral trade deals with other countries.
You've had a bit more of a relaxed attitude to some manifesto commitments.
We can't. The question would be, how would you unravel and unpack the trade deals that we've done? We've set our course now, which is about the UK being an open and trading nation that needs to look at exploiting and exploring the opportunities like the India trade deal, which I think has, got real potential for our economy. Do we really want or need to go back on that through the customs union? I think there are other ways of getting a much better and closer regulatory alignment with the European Union, trading alignment in goods and services. Let's explore those because the UK is in a very special position.
Let's move on to your brief. You want to talk about online access for GP patients. The BMA says that patients are at risk because urgent requests aren't being triaged properly and because practices are overwhelmed.
Well, we have got great news, which is that we have got now 98% of practices offering online appointments between 8 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. As a result of that, we've got more people now using online than the telephone, and that really helps to end the 8 a.m. scramble. You'll know, you set your alarm at 7:55 a.m. to start calling the GP at 8 a.m. You get in a queue. It's a bit of a nightmare experience. Get people online, particularly for the routine stuff, will really help to take the pressure off the 8 a.m. scramble. As a result of this, when we came in July 24, patient satisfaction with access to their GP stood at about 61%. It now stands today at 74-75%. That is a stunning increase in patient satisfaction with access. So we're definitely moving in the right direction, but there's still more to do.
Do you think the BMA are behaving like moaning minis?
I think that we've got to call them out. for their reckless and irresponsible behaviour. This is on the resident doctor side, not so much the GP side. I mean, the GPs have also... The GP section of the BMA has also been threatening industrial action, but that all, I think, now has faded away because I think they've realised that the GP community is very keen on modernisation, on getting that shift from analogue to digital, getting better patient outcomes. So I think we're in a better place now with the GP section of the BMA, but with the resident doctors section, their behaviour is reckless and irresponsible. They received a 29% pay increase. I think most of your viewers would feel that that was a pretty good deal, and to go on strike off the back of a 29% pay increase is just irrational and reckless.
Last question about Marcus Campbell-Savers. This is a rural Cumbrian MP who rebelled last night on inheritance tax for farmers. It was a point of principle. Why are you punishing MPs on these sorts of points of principle, standing up for their constituents?
I think we've got a clear regulations now, or policy, I should say, on agricultural inheritance tax. You've got to be earning over you've got to have but the value of your property has to be seriously high. I think it's about £3 million. And that, I think, makes it a very small number that are affected by our policy. But we think it's right that, inheritance tax is something that everybody who goes over the threshold has to pay, whatever walk of life that you're in. We think it's fair and right to have that level playing field. And that's the logic that we're applying to the agricultural inheritance tax.
OK, thank you so much, Stephen Kinnock.
Thank you.